A think tank, the Institute of Economic Affairs, has said legalising cannabis would raise £1 billion a year in tax for the UK. It comes as politicians and celebrities have today given their support to an open letter from the MS Society calling on the government to include multiple sclerosis in its review into the use of medicinal cannabis. Well, let's speak to Clark French from the United Patients Alliance, which calls for the use of medicinal cannabis to be legalised. Clark, really good to see you. Thank you for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You were diagnosed with MS in 2010. Just tell us about why you decided to use cannabis as opposed to more mainstream forms of medication.
Well, I did try all of the mainstream forms of medication. So I was prescribed 11 different pharmaceuticals. Upon diagnosis, I was offered a drug called Tysabri. Tysabri is a form of chemotherapy, and unfortunately, Tysabri has a side effect of it could potentially put you into a coma that you'll never wake up from. At 24 years old, that wasn't a risk that I really wanted to take, so I decided to look into other options. The opioids were definitely making me feel really bad. The side effects from all of the tramadol, especially, well, I couldn't be myself. It was really difficult to just to think and to act and to be who I am. And I realised that when I took cannabis instead, a lot of those side effects weren't happening, and I got the effective pain relief that I needed. So now I've come off of all of the pharmaceutical drugs, and I save the NHS £30,000 every single year by consuming cannabis instead.
And tell us about the effect that cannabis has on your symptoms.
So I have a lot of pain. So my main symptom is called MS hug. So from about here all the way down here, all of the time, 24/7, it hurts. It's like all of the muscles between my ribs are always like tight as possible, as if you're like clenching as hard as you can all of the time. So when I consume cannabis, when I vaporize cannabis especially, because vaporization helps affects quickest, that pain reduces. So it can be an 8 or 9 out of 10, like really unbearably painful, where I can't do anything other than lie in bed, have a vaporizer, and that pain goes down to a 5, maybe a 4. I can get up, I can go to the toilet, I can make myself something to eat. It's the difference between having to rely on somebody to look after me all of the time and being able to have some independence. It really changes my life for the better.
I mean, cannabis is obviously illegal. I mean, how hard is it to get hold of?
It's pretty. Prohibition is a law which is unenforceable by the police. Like, it's impossible for the police to catch every single person in this country that consumes cannabis. It's a ridiculous task for the police to uphold. So actually, it's quite easy to get cannabis in this country. It's easier for a kid who's 15. When I was 15, it was easier for me to get cannabis than it was for me to get alcohol. Definitely, because a dealer doesn't ask for ID. All they ask for is £20. So actually, it's quite easy to get hold of cannabis in this country.
Yeah,
however, it's not the right type of cannabis that everybody needs, and it's always a higher strength, and that's purely because of prohibition. Because the higher strength it is, the more money that can be made from it.
So when you see this letter that's been signed by from the likes of Sir Vince Cable, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, right to Sir Ranulph Fiennes, writing to the Home Secretary saying that cannabis should be looked at for a treatment for MS. I mean, does that add weight to the debate for you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, with the United Patients Alliance, we've been campaigning since 2014 on this issue, and we're really, really pleased to see some movement. But I think that we really want to urge the government and the Home Office to listen to not just the people with epilepsy, not just the sick kids that are making the news, not just the people with MS that have the MS Society on their side, but actually a load of the other people that consume cannabis as a medicine. I mean, we know people with arthritis, with Crohn's disease, with ME, with fibromyalgia, with depression, with all sorts of different illnesses and ailments that cannabis really helps and really makes their life better. We need to make sure that nobody's left behind in this, and that cannabis is made available to everybody that needs it, because it really, I can tell you from personally knowing that cannabis makes a huge difference to my life, and I know many people out there whose lives it could be better if it was being able to be prescribed, if it was able to get hold of easily. Many other people that currently don't consume it, such as my grandma, she's got rheumatoid arthritis. She's been ill for years, but she won't go to the street, or she won't break the law to get access to the medicine that could well help her. But I will. But you know,
well, it is a debate that will continue. We'll see what the Home Secretary says about this. But Clark, very interesting stuff. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.